Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 53 of the Glory Days podcast. We are back. We are depressed. We are ready to end it all, and we are discussing Perth Glory for the next hour and a half of our lives. We're here on a Monday night, so as if we couldn't get tired enough, we're about to subject ourselves to recalling a tragic event. This is borderline. This is borderline torture.
Well, fucking Will decided to skimp out and not.
Will decided.
Make sure to give him some shit in the chat and the comments.
He fell asleep.
He wanted some beauty
to wake
sleep.
up.
Had a bit too much fun over the weekend.
Well, it looked like a few people involved in the club had a nice little nap over the weekend and forgot to wake up in time. But you know that's neither here nor there, and we'll get into that today. But plenty of stuff to get into, including a record number of fan comments.
Yes, we
40.
did.
40 fan comments.
It's pretty big because we had one of our viewers ask us on Instagram, can you have a section of fan comments on Instagram because I refuse to use Twitter? And it's like, okay, no worries, we can accommodate
if you're
for
on
that.
your phone, you can just do playback speed times 1.5.
all of our lefty liberal fans who don't like Elon Musk's Twitter.
So we'll start with the Instagram comments. So Brad _the_sneaky_man said,
I don't think you had to speak the underscores.
It's all right. I'm just saying it for shits and gigs. It was rough. Missing Lawrence and Peno definitely had an effect. 4 games away will suck, but when Kohler scores the winner back in front of the shed, the 6-7s will be amazing. Chris Ingham, same old losing habits. Definitely need a marquee caliber creative midfielder and the old tag it back ASAP. Simon, I think, call me crazy, but I don't think we're that far off. Truth of the matter is, next season is the big test. Do we agree with that, or what do we think?
That we're not far off.
And next season is the big test.
Yes, but I don't like to hear that.
But how long have we been not far off? You know what I mean?
Well, we've always felt that we've had a chance historically.
That's what I'm saying. It's how many? Because inevitably next season when we go into it the exact same, when we finish 8th. Again, outside of the top 6 by 5 points, and we say, "Oh, we were really close," but next season's the real test.
There's no consistency because, okay, we don't make top 6. I don't know if this is a fact or what the agreement is. Okay, they sack our coach and bring in another coach. Then, how do we know? Oh, what they might say? Oh, it's going to take another season to rebuild with this coach. So we don't.
Oh, we always say next season's going to be the year.
Yeah, exactly. But how much more rebuilding do we realistically have to do? Because this is our 3rd season under. We've had 3 coaches in 3 years.
Yes,
essentially,
pretty much.
And within the past 7 years, we've had 6 coaches, 5-6 coaches.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
How much more rebuilding or reshuffling we're going to have to do at this point? Because at this point, we're becoming the A-League Watford. That's what we're becoming at this point.
Pretty much, and it's just the continuation of mediocrity, to be honest. So, Jordan, he said, thoughts on Tavia's debut, thought he looked half decent.
I mean, we'll probably go more in depth.
We'll go in more depth
player
a little
ratings,
bit later.
But
yeah. I will say is my expectations based on the past, Ioma, were very low. So he was, okay. So for me, I thought he was very good.
To be fair, it's not the best game to come into.
No, we don't know what his.
But for what I was expecting, he was very good.
Oh, yeah.
I liked him more when he played a little bit more inside as a 10 rather than as a winger.
Agreed.
And hopefully we can see that moving forward. Simon Watts said, Perth Glory, sadly now the Perth Chokers. We win big one week and then bottle it the next. We beat Melbourne City in December, then lose to Victory in January. We beat Central Coast 3-0, then turn around and lose to the Raw 2-1. We beat Auckland 2-1, then draw against MacArthur, and now lose 3-1 to the Jets. We just failed to perform when the spotlight is on.
Can't disagree there.
Paul, he said, you don't want to hear my post-game thoughts. Gianni, Prob's one of the worst ones this season. Wendy, oh bugger. Now into Twitter. Alex, it's your mate, Pockle.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, that was pretty shit, but at least it wasn't Pennington shit. Why the disrespect to fucking Pennington, man? What does he...
Hey, look, all I'm going to say is that...
Pennington's not even a bad player.
Yeah, real.
It's just bloody Griff playing him as a winger.
Yeah, I do recall him scoring last week as well.
I do recall your description of that goal was quite impressive.
Well, I just tell it how it is, James.
Fair. Daniel, he said, it's bad when Glory Days post before full time.
Oh, shit. We put this out before full time.
Yes, yeah, I did. Not happy with the starting 11. Why does Griffo insist on playing centre mids on the wing? When Woots hits a long ball to Jaden in the 3rd minute, I just put my head in my hands for what was to come. Tom, I'm going to say it. Taggart's washed. Genuinely, what the fuck was that? Without Lawrence, we're cooked.
I was thinking before the transfer window closed, hey, we could probably bring on Balotelli on loan.
Probably could.
I mean,
it's just a club agreement, to be honest.
Yeah.
So why would we?
Well, he's scored his debut.
It'd be funny, but probably would be.
Griff against Balotelli
we probably
would be funny.
do need to address the Taggart washed claims because Will's not here, so we can be a bit honest with ourselves here. How close are we to honestly sort of making that claim that Taggart is just not at the level that he needs to be? Because are we saying that? Are we saying that Taggart's past the level that we need for our team, or are we just saying that he's on a bad run of form?
What do you mean by how close are we? Because obviously he's not playing the best, but I feel like regardless, he's a club legend and he has to stay.
I know that, but what I'm saying is
do you keep persisting with him as your starting striker?
Exactly, that's exactly what I mean.
You have to look for other options. I don't know, because for me, he's 32. I get he's aging, but you don't just drop off that much. Like, yes, you slow down, but you should always retain your footballing ability.
We don't help Tags to be his best self either with how we play. And that's kind of been the case since Stadge. And it's been no surprise that since Stadge, Tags' form has kind of gone like that, and it's been a fairly steady decline. This season, the numbers have shown that he's had a slight uptick in the quality of his chances compared to the previous season under Zrilic, but his finishing is still a little bit funky.
The thing I will say is he has just come back from another little niggle. I just don't think there's been really a time he's been 100% this whole season. And obviously you can't blame it on that, but that's just what I think's happened. I don't think he's gotten to 100%.
Yeah. Look, I think he's more so being saved at the moment by the fact that the striker market for Australian football is just not that good, especially since D'Agostino did go back to Brisbane of all places. Look, in the off-season, if the opportunity opens up to go for someone like a Jamie McLaren, who is at a similar age to Adam Taggart, but is that left the A-League as the top A-League goal scorer of all time and is currently still applying his trade at a decent level in India and scored in their first goal of the season and got an assist for their second goal, I think, to Jason Cummings, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Or was it Dimi Petrov? I can't remember.
Either way, he was involved.
He was very involved and is still scoring at a very good level, playing very well. Compare that to Adam Taggart, who is at a similar age. 2 years ago was undoubtedly the best striker in the A-League. Got a Socceroos call up, scored in front of, scored at HBF Park for the Socceroos against Palestine. Yep. Fast forward to now, yes, he's had a really tough year and a half under Zrilic, but he is getting good service in a lot of these games, and he is not even getting close to scoring in a lot of them. He's missing 1v1s. He's missing good tap-in opportunities. That one in the first half was a shocker.
That was about as bad as
that
it
was
gets. The only thing I'll say to defend him, though, is that while the quality of chances has gone up this season, the volume hasn't followed. So he's still having to feed on scraps, and it's probably more broadly why our whole forward line as a whole just isn't scoring enough goals.
I think it's also because he's struggling to adapt to the system, because we look at Taggart under Stadge, and obviously he was great, but then you look at him play for the Socceroos, and he sort of struggles to fit in that sort of system.
Stadge had guys around Tags, so you could pump the ball into Tags, and then there'd be guys underneath that could receive, pump a quick ball out wide, and then it's a quick cross, and that's how Tags wants to play. But under Griff, it's just long ball and then nothing.
I do think that's a good point, that when under even Zads, we had Tags playing with Jelacic, Ryan Williams and David Williams, compared to now when we have him playing alongside, yes, Tom Lawrence, but then you look at the wings and you're not, unfortunately, we should be looking at players like Collar, Kucharski, but instead for some reason we're looking out onto our wings and we're seeing Despo, Pennington, Osler.
Not natural wingers.
We're not seeing natural wingers there. We're seeing natural midfielders and natural right backs.
Yep.
I don't exactly know what the planning is here with Griff in terms of. Look, for all intents and purposes, when you look at the players that he starts out on the wings, you'd think, oh yes, he wants narrow 10s. He wants narrow 10s to allow his fullbacks to get high. But that's just not how we're playing. So I genuinely don't get what this is.
You looked at Tags' first season, like a majority of his goals were from Jacob Dowse's crosses.
100%. Yeah.
Remember that? And then now you look at the crosses he gets, and
shit.
It's just because our wingers get pushed out wide, and then they can't really deliver.
I never thought that we would sign Sam Sutton, and I would still miss Jacob Dowse. I never thought that would be the case.
But it's like, even from the game, there were rarely any times that he got in or near the box, and when he was in or near the box, he looked dangerous. But again, it's just the frequency that wasn't there. Nick, he said, embarrassing to get toyed with like that at home. No passion or desire from anyone beside Gio and Collar. Currently in phase driller of the Griffo tenure, concerning that we haven't progressed at all under him.
I don't know about phase driller just yet.
I agree with the last part, though, that we haven't progressed.
Well, we haven't progressed since the away trip.
Pretty much.
The away trip in which we beat Newcastle MacArthur, but I don't think phase driller is exactly fair.
Not yet, no.
Like I've said before, the problem is Griffiths hasn't really proven himself as an elite coach yet, so there's always going to be the doubts. But in the back of my mind, I've also got, and we've said this before, are we giving him the best facilities, the best physios, are we getting all his players to the best possible shape we could be?
You could argue that, but then you could also argue when you're on a short-term deal, there's more of a need and an urgency for you to perform with what you have.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's like there's only so much.
Is if you were to put Griffiths into Melbourne City's, give him Melbourne City's facilities. Sure. Do you think it will be the same situation?
But here's another question. You look
because there's only so much.
You look at how Aurelio Vidmar is performing with some Melbourne City players. Do you think that if you gave Adam Griffiths forward options of Mehmeti and Rahmani,
I'd say our players on paper are better than City's.
Exactly, but I'm saying that I don't think putting Griffiths into a side that has a big.
But I'm saying it's excluding the players, everything around that.
I don't think so. No.
It might play a part in that where the training facilities that we train. It's only recently that we've come back to Mirrabooka when we've been training at Yokine for pretty much most of the season up to, like I said, the last 2 weeks. But I still think on the pitch, from what you're seeing in terms of behaviours and habits, there's lots of questions that are there. And I thought that Ben Smith asked the question of the season in his press conference. So he said, in terms of chance creation, do you feel like teams, now that there's a bit of a 2 to 3 month sample size of what you want to do with the team in possession, do you feel that teams have wised up to that a bit and have worked out on how to cut down on what you guys like to do? Griff said no. I think from what I've seen thus far, we just need to improve in these critical moments. There were some moments last weekend and even this week where we played some good passages and then it breaks. So it's this final moment that we have to improve on. So from what I'm seeing, those moments have to be clinical. They have to have X factor, and that's not happening at the moment. But Griff's diagnosing that problem too many steps ahead, saying it's a clinical issue, yet our conversion rate is at a league average. The problem is we're not even getting into those positions like a team like Newcastle were, where they had I think Newcastle, if they were a little bit cleaner with their shots and we weren't blocking as many, obviously, no shit, they probably could have ended up with 6. Including the 3 goals that they scored, I think they had 6 great opportunities all game.
Yeah.
Glory probably only had 2. And then you can say maybe Taggart's as another one.
Yeah. But
2, including the goal that we scored. So there's a huge difference in volume, and I think the data has been pretty consistent in that regard for Griff. James Merrin, he said, I do love how Griffo has brought the fans back and people were getting excited about this club once again. However, recently he's been getting out-coached and it's sadly hard to watch now. Jets showed us tonight why they're top and they deserve it, outclass.
Look, I will say as well, I don't necessarily think that the Jets, or at least this test against Milligan, should be a benchmark for Griff as a coach. I think we need to base it, especially in the next 4 weeks. These are 4 teams that I believe are going to be in and around challenging us.
Yep.
For those final spots, but I am looking to games like Adelaide. You look to games like Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory, teams in and around that top 6 to maybe 8th or 9th spot, and you say, okay, well, what are you going to get us from these games here? Because we look at some games that we've gone into. Melbourne City, of course, when they play open-ended football, Griff has proven that he is very capable of managing games in which there is open-ended football. But the problem is that once the game isn't open-ended, I think Griff goes into a shell a little bit too much. I don't think he's proactive enough as a coach. I don't think he's willing to make those hard decisions when it comes to squad selections or when it comes to risk-taking. Yeah. I think he's way too prone to playing it safe. And look, I think we've all acknowledged at one point or another, and we will continue to acknowledge, that he has significantly improved the defensive capabilities of this team. Sure, you bring in guys like Kaltak, Wooten, you bring in guys like Sam Sutton, you're going to improve the defensive sort of structure and the defensive output of the team. But in terms of every underlying metric, I think it's quite obvious that Griffiths has been a net positive for the defense of this team. The only issue is that he's seemingly done it at the expense of attacking coaching and attacking-minded coaching, which is the real thing which is the real kicker here, the real thing that kills me, because you can't expect to push for top 6 at the expense of your attacking patterns and your attacking coaching, because there's nothing to build off of there, really. You defend great, sure, but as soon as the game isn't open, as soon as the game isn't a game where you can sit back, soak pressure, and then counter, what is the next plan? He says he wants to be a possession-style coach. We know yada, yada, yada. Sampoli, sorry, Bielsa, blah, blah, blah. When are we going to see that? When are we going to see
that was the irony of the game against Newcastle, in that you had two coaches that pretty much want to play the same way, and yet they
except
both
one does it and one wants to do it but doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we always had these sort of like concerns with Griff because we knew he was a defensive coach, but could he do more than that?
Well, I remember that we had the podcast after the Sydney game, and I was talking to Will about it, and the key question was evolution, because he proved proficiency within the game model that he had from the away games between Newcastle and then that win against Western Sydney at home. He was proficient within that game state. But then following on from that, we've not progressed in really any metric. And if you really want to be that nerdy, if you looked at the rolling XG, basically there's been no trend throughout the whole season. But ever since the Brisbane game, the quality of chances that the opposition have been getting has been going up like that. Meanwhile, our quality of chances has gone down like that. Auckland game, that flipped, where we created more than and Auckland created next to nothing. But then after that, we've gone back to that trend of the goals conceded or the chances conceded going up and the quality of our chances going down. So a result like we had against Newcastle, for me, was always on the cards. It just took for a good team like Newcastle to kick us in the arse, and lo and behold, that's what happened.
I just find whenever the opposition has the ball, we lose rhythm. The longer they have the ball, we lose rhythm, and then it's harder for us to, once we've got the ball back, to keep control again.
Oh, we were just so static against the Jets. It was a frustrating watch. Average, he said, really wish we had Lawrence back in, but I understand it. I'll be sorry if I say something wrong, but I do not think Taggart will be here next season. Where did the 20 goals Taggart go? We kept giving him opportunities for goals, but he's not putting it in the net. Sorry. Daniel Del Barello, outcoached, outplayed. That was the difference. One side knew exactly who they are and executed with purpose. The other looks like they're still searching for an identity. That's the gap between a winning culture and a team chasing consistency. Ethan, this was as bad as Drillich ball, and Taggart did not do anything to help at all. Made us play like we had 10 all game. Jamal Lowe, this loss is all on Griff. The 4-4-2 ain't it. Midfield getting overrun. Seb wasted out wide, and JK wasted through the middle. He's better out wide as well. Shamoon can fuck off his wank. I think that's a bit harsh.
That's just JK's better out wide.
That's what he felt, yeah.
I think he's better centrally. Personally, that's what I think.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's better out wide than what we're currently.
Than what we currently have. But you looked at the last time we played him centrally. But I personally think he's at the moment he's more of a sub than a starter. I know that's hard.
I disagree. I personally really disagree there. I think that he has a role to play as a starter. I just don't think we gave him the right sort of game to play against Newcastle. But to be fair,
he's had more rhythm in games when he's come off the bench. I completely
agree with Jamal there saying the 4-4-2 is just not it. We have been saying this. Yeah. We have been saying every game that we have played that we have lost or dropped points in since we came back from the Newcastle MacArthur away trip. Yeah. Every single fucking game that we've lost or dropped points in has been as a result of losing the midfield battle. And every time it is against the three-man midfield. Every single time, James.
But it's our behaviours on the ball. It's
I understand
But as an example, though, there's a great shape that I'll put the picture up if I can. But if you look at how we build up, for example, there is our front four stay on the last line. They are so static. There is no movement. They're expecting a long ball. Meanwhile, you've got our defenders Matt Sutton, who's involved in build-up, and you've got our midfielders as well. There's a huge gap in the middle. There's like a 20-metre gap. And none of our wingers are coming in to provide any sort of support.
Look, I understand that, but my main issue is the fact that transitionally we are so weak. We are so weak. We talk about how Gio Diabreu picks up easy yellow cards. Yep. He's in a two-man midfield with no support. He's doing a lot of defensive coverage. And we also talk about the fact that Will Franey is a very good defensive-minded midfielder, but not as good at ball progression as Bozza. You're partnering him with Gio Diabreu, who is, once again, another good defensive midfielder, but isn't good with ball progression or playing progressive passes. Look, we have nothing there in terms of actually getting the ball forward. We rely way too much on our wide players carrying it. The issue...
Or hoof ball up
exactly.
to tags,
but the issue is when we hoof ball it, we lose because Taggart's not tall enough, and when we play it out wide, we lose because our wingers are either too slow, are not proficient in taking on their place 1v1,
the ball is too straight, and they man mark us, and then they cause a transition.
Thank you. The straight ball in which we have no fucking outlets to.
So this is again the question of evolution and progression for Griff, where it's like he's had 4 months with them as the head coach, but he also had time with them as an assistant.
Yeah.
So it's not like he doesn't know the players in their strengths. So I think it's, again, the questions are going to keep coming. Lachlan, he had a few thoughts. He said, I don't know what to say. Amos and Bozanovsky gone in a week. No Peno, no Wales.
I just want to say.
No Lawrence.
That is pretty crazy because at the start of the season, we were like, these are going to be our best two midfielders.
Amos and Bozanovsky, yes. Yeah, and yep.
But the circumstances in which they left could be more different. Amos leaving after only 11 total games played for the club.
Yeah.
Shipped off to the second division
of South Korea.
And Bozza getting a well-deserved move to Heracles.
It's sad because I think that could have been our best midfield if it worked. But
it could have been.
We just never saw
it really could have been.
Lachlan said he predicted a 4-0, so this is better, I guess. I don't understand Griff starting Luca when he hasn't proven to be a A-League quality yet. Surely bring him off the bench. No, poor performance nonetheless. Thought Wooden was good until he missed the ball for the second goal. A midfield four of pretty much teenagers didn't work. Finals is gone. Griff doesn't have what it takes going forward. No change in shape. Intensity was poor. They fiddled with us. Where are we at? Jacko, very poor turnout by the local crowd. I disagree with that, considering that the Wildcats...
decent crowd.
It was 7,000.
Yeah,
it was 7,000.
It's just a shame.
But then again, it was first Newcastle, like top of the table.
And a Friday night. So
yeah, it was a Friday
He said,
night.
We really needed a good performance and a good crowd, and Perth Glory got neither. Disappointing all round. Ryan, he said, # we want a mountain goat. Okay.
Instead of the lion, we want a mountain goat.
Okay, fair enough. Lachlan.
Unfortunately, we forgot about the mountain goat.
I love how when they like announced the coach on the big screen and like
they did the
lion thing, and then it was the quietest ever.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, but the gimmick's worn off.
Yeah. The gimmick is done, man.
Yeah,
like I'm sorry.
It's like like the I'm a lion. The funny answers in a press conference, like and even like leading into the Newcastle game when he had that Sean Dyche moment where it was like put the ball in that net, stop it going in that net. And it's like, well, they put the ball in our net 3 times. Yeah. So, taking the piss out of the questions that journos give you, I think that's just... We're getting nowhere with that.
He did with Jacob Burns was hard to watch, man.
That was shit.
That was really hard to watch.
That was shit.
Because Jacob Burns isn't asking any sort of like...
tricky question.
He's not asking a trick. It's very straightforward, and it's just like, no.
Well, it was like, you must be frustrated. And he's like, yeah. And it's like, no, it's
just like, mate,
talk to us.
It's just like, look, I love Griff. He's a great guy, right? However, it is really frustrating, and we've said this. For example, remember earlier this season, I think it was the second episode we did of the season, after the first game against Wellington, right? Yes. When we were 2-0 up, we ended up drawing 2-2, and then Zrilic came out in the post-match press conference and said that he was happy with the point, and how harshly we treated him for a poor press conference response.
Yeah.
I don't see enough criticism of Griffiths for how poorly he's been handling the sort of criticism here. Because, look, at this stage, as Glory manager, you're going to receive some criticism when your team puts up a poor performance like that. And look, if you genuinely think that was a performance of... He's done this a lot in which he's said, that's not the football I recognise, that's not the football we play.
Or it's down to finishing.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. But it's like, you don't really help yourself and you don't really make yourself more likeable to the sort of disgruntled and frustrated fan when you get interviewed by a Glory legend and Jacob Burns,
A
and you're giving smart-ass one-word answers.
I get if it's a journalist and they're saying dumb shit.
But it's Jacob Burns,
then again,
man.
yeah, it's Jacob Burns. Like, you just kind of make yourself look arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lachlan, he said, shout out to Newcastle, thought they were slick in the first half, found a lot of passes in the middle and a lot of good intraplay and capitalise. Poor defensive mistakes. We aren't far off. Defensively, for the most part, solid, need more forward. Jordan, he said, oh God. He said, if you are someone who is thinking about committing, then I suggest purchasing a Glory membership and attending every home game. It'll make the process much easier. The Bay has turned into prime O block for no reason. What has happened to my football club?
We're going to birth the new King Von out of the Bay, bro.
Oh, bro. And fuck, Lachlan, how many comments, mate? We told Ryan
he
off
loves
for too
it,
many.
bro.
So
he loves it.
He said, also, Griff's shape of wanting the right mid to come inside. Pennington did it, and now Tavia isn't working. Surely play a midfield 3. The fullbacks aren't starting in a high enough position for it to work. Muller, I was poured the worst beer of my life in the members' bar this evening. It was all foam and no body, very reminiscent of the team's performance. Jay, we're performing as expected. We have a lack of genuine quality in the team to be serious about winning anything. Daniel Fieldgate, Adam Griffiths' tactical stubbornness has cost him for me. Same shape, same selections, same slow reactions. When the system isn't working, you have to change it. Too rigid, too reactive, not proactive enough. Jason Smith, final third is killing any aspirations of making finals. Alex, please do your best not to react too badly to this question from Luke, or comment, I should say. Hear me out. Giordano Colli return in a 3-man midfield.
No.
Oh my God.
I do agree there because, I know you guys are going to disagree, but I think if you're playing G and Will together, I feel like Pennington sort of added that experience in the midfield.
No, 3-man midfield I agree with. It's more the fact that he said Giordano Colli should return to play in that 3-man.
I know what you mean, though.
I feel like it would add a lot. And then you play 3 attackers. I feel like that, especially with who we've got, I feel like that would just work better.
I think that works well as well. I don't know why we're persisting with the system that clearly is not working.
He just seems to only want to coach one shape, and it's like it's frustrating as fuck. Here we go, Christos. Good to see you. He said, I'm sick and tired of watching this crab in goal, Matt Sutton. He is not doing it for me in big games. He goes hiding and doesn't make big saves. If we want to make finals, Birras needs to be starting. Sort yourself out.
Oh, nah, that's a terrible take.
Christos, bro.
That's just
what's Sutton done wrong?
Christos, have a word.
Breathed.
Christos, have a word.
Christos, good to see you in the comments again.
Good to see you back, Christos.
Of course, it's after
brother,
a loss,
you've got to give it a spell, bro.
Just leave it. Just drop it. You're not winning anyone out.
Now, Ryan Warner, on the other hand.
Yeah.
We love Ryan Warner here.
We do love Ryan. Korean barbecue. Luca Tavia. Close enough. Welcome back, Bruce Kamau. Yeah, a bit stiff.
That's the best comment I've seen, bro, from someone called Korean Barbecue, and he's just called Luca Tavia Bruce Kamau.
That is fucking
That's
harsh.
incredible. That's made my fucking
Rob
day.
True, he
Say
said...
that.
Huh?
Never mind.
Doesn't matter.
That's brilliant.
Was a terrible game of football all round. Glory either look for a pass back or a hopeful long ball. I walked out at the red card. Oh, fuck, here we go again. Christos, if Perth Glory want to turn things around, you need to go with Birighitti for the remainder of the season. A top-class keeper who can change games, not just fill a spot.
Look, he's a good keeper, but it's like Matt Sutton's
Drop the
not
fucking
doing anything
thing,
wrong,
like,
bro.
Okay, sorry, boys. Remind me, though, like, from the 3 goals, which one was Sutton's fault?
None of them. None of them. They were all like the first 2 we switched off, and then the last one is like, well, good luck. It's the 3-on-2. The guy has basically a tap in at the back post.
Look,
so.
I do feel bad for Birras because you could make the case that he probably should be playing football in some capacity, but at the same time, it's like
there's no room.
There's no room. There's no reason to drop.
Sorry, it's like, but
there's no reason to drop.
Well, that was partly why Amos left, as Griff said in his presser. It was like, well, you got at the time you had Bozanovsky, you had Will, you had Gio, who were all performing well and training well, and it's just by selection. Okay, you're not going to get in the team, so that's sad. But anyway, but yeah, 3-1 loss to. That's all the comments done. So 3-1 loss to Newcastle at home, round 17. Look, I've done the math. So if we want to make the finals, we need 18 points from our last 9. If we've only got 9 games left, we need 18 points.
That's actually not too bad.
That's 6 wins out of 9, and our next 4 games are on the road including an away game to Auckland.
Well, we've actually seen our
Wellington.
away forms better than our home form.
That is true. Because just to give a bit of context, our home form, it's the second worst in the competition. 10 games at home, 3 wins, 1 draw, 6
Please
losses.
enlighten me as to what our next 9 fixtures are, James, because...
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Adelaide away, Brisbane away, Auckland away, Wellington away, City at home, Mariners away, Macarthur at home, Sydney away, Brisbane at home.
I've counted 5 games there that I think we can win. Brisbane in both the fixtures, Macarthur at home. I'm taking Mariners away and Melbourne, not Melbourne City, sorry, Wellington. Those 5 games I think are very winnable.
Hang on, so how have we calculated we need 18 points?
It's 38 points is what you needed last season.
Right.
And so we're currently on 20.
Different this season.
Yeah, it might be
going
off of last season's results.
You don't go off last season because the league.
Yeah, I know, but like, let's say in a world in which last season's results are what we're going off of, you realistically need about 18 points.
Yeah.
It's just
because the season before, what did you need to make? The season before, you needed 39 points to make the finals.
Look, it's not impossible, but at the same time, it's like you're going to have to rely on some very big upsets and also not dropping a single point in any of those 5 games that you realistically should expect to win if you want to make the finals.
That's the thing, and I think I hate to say it, but you're going to need a Hail Mary at this point. Even if we make the
finals, I know this is negative. Do I realistically think we'll go far? Hell no.
I don't think we'll go far either.
It's a good target to have. You've got to have that winning mentality.
You've got to give up. That's got to be the benchmark.
No,
it's got to be the benchmark.
It has to be. It has to be the benchmark. But my concern would be that we make the finals off the back of an unsustainable game model. We then extend Griff's contract, and then we're back to where we were at the start of the season with Drella.
That is why I said earlier in the season, I copped slack for it. That is why I said that making the finals should not be an automatic indicator of an extension. It should not be an automatic indicator of an extension. If you can turn this around, play good football, and get this side into the top 4, then you can look at an extension. But a 6th place finish with this squad is what we said was the bare minimum.
Yeah,
the bare minimum. If you're a coach that's getting the bare minimum out of this squad, then what indicator is there that I want to put the that I want to give you the keys to this project, this very well-funded project, when we're possibly going into a 3 million hard cap season?
Yep.
There is no incentive for me as an investor or as a director of football or as an owner to be able to do that. The only thing that for me is saving Griffiths at the moment, after his poor form and everything like that. The only thing that is saving him for me is that every other Aussie coach has been snapped up by China. If there is a single issue with the CSL, or there becomes another Aussie coach that's available, he is cooked. I'm sorry, because I don't see us making finals. I really don't.
At the moment, possibly coaches that may be available. Mark Jackson's only got a 1-year deal with Buriram. Peter Klimovsky.
I'd be looking at Mark Jackson. I'd be looking at Graham Arnold, Kisnorbo.
Graham Arnold's my number one.
I'd be looking at John Brady. I'd be looking at
Brady's been snapped up by Port Vale.
Oh, well, fuck my life. I'd be looking at Des Buckingham.
Klimovsky is an interesting shout.
It's an interesting shout, but it's just
a good shout because ever since he left Oxford, they've gone to shit. So.
I would love Des Buckingham would be my dream get. He'd be my dream get. I don't care. Throw the bag at him, please, lads. I don't care if we go into next season with half of the academy playing in the starting 11. Just get me Des Buckingham.
But this is the thing.
Start. Look, if you have to go into next season starting fucking Lewis Solid up top and Santiago Flores on the wing, I couldn't give a shit.
But the point is like we've all suggested predominantly coaches that have a proactive game model, and
that's what you need going forward.
But that's the thing. That's what we need, and it's part of the trade-off of having a pragmatic game style is that yes, games are going to be tight, but this is the first time that we've had a margin where we've lost a game by more than
the thing is
one
as
goal.
well. The thing is as well is that even with Popper, right?
Yeah.
I think everyone can agree that Popper's game style is not very proactive, not very forward-thinking in terms of attacking football.
It's inconsistent.
But the difference is that he made up for it by having good enough pull and being a successful enough coach to bring in top quality talent, for one. 2, he had the double pivot down packed. He wasn't playing with 2 extremely defensive-minded midfielders that couldn't progress the ball. Neil Kilkenny was a good ball carrier, and Juande was a fucking deep-line playmaking genius for A-League standards. Yeah. He was a fucking wizard. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
So that is where we've gone wrong, essentially. I'm not saying that Griffiths isn't to blame because he's persisting with a system that he doesn't have the players for. I understand that Griffiths wants to play the system, and this is his preferred style.
Is there proof of concept that it can even work sustainably?
Well, I think a double pivot can work, but you need the right players for it.
Take away double pivot, his game model as a whole, in theory.
I think. Look,
his brand of football.
if you have the right players, I think you can make any system work. That's my fundamental belief. I think that any system can work if you have the right players put in place. The issue is finding those right players. Are they attainable?
Yes.
Are you going to be able to actually fit them all in the same team under the budget constraints, under the visa constraints, everything like that? I don't think that there are many players in Australia that you can realistically add into this side and dramatically improve the outcome of the team. There are a couple. Costa Grozas is one that we mentioned as someone who you could add into that double pivot to help with deep lane playmaking reasons. But there's realistically...
Yeah, but every single team needs players to make their system work. You've got to work with what we've got.
No, I understand that. And that's why I'm saying I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Griff, because any other coach that doesn't have the players, even every coach that I've ever met, even at the junior level, I've met a lot at senior level as well, but even at the junior level, know that even if you have a preferred system, even if you have a preferred style of play, if you don't have the players, you have to adapt, because players a lot of the time are just not going to be able to adapt for it. If you build your career off of one specific game model, if you go your entire career not having to account for certain weaknesses in your game, you're not just going to recover from it overnight. It's a better idea for the coach to adapt to his players rather than the players have to adapt to the coach.
But I think also there is that, to play devil's advocate, Griff possibly could have gone into, when he got the job, he could have gone in, well, I want to play this possession brand of football. He could have gone with a whole concept, and it's similar in a way to Amram, but it's, bear with me, but it's like the idea is you have the players out there, and they either work within that system, and then the ones that don't, I know this is a bit harsh, but they sort of get exposed, and then it's a clearer objective for the recruitment team in terms of the areas that you need to target.
Yeah.
Like if Griff wanted to play possession football in the way that he described it in that interview with Ben Smith, and it's like, we're playing it, but you can very clearly see there's personnel issues, and then it's like, well, then it should be a bit more of a straightforward task of, okay, we need a central midfielder that can pass the ball and break lines, or we need a winger that's more direct, or you need fullbacks that can have a good athletic capacity and can overlap, whatever it is. But I just think the game model was functional to a point, but now that we've played a side like Newcastle, because we may as well get onto the game, it just showed the difference between if you have a proactive game model and you have a reactive game model. So can we get some thoughts across the panel initially for what we took away from the Jets game?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I know this sounds bad, but I don't think it's really fair to go in to this game expecting to win, because we always knew that Newcastle were the best team in the league, and it was always going to be a challenge. But you just look at the way Newcastle played and what Mark Milligan's doing with these players who, on paper, aren't, and like, you wouldn't think much of them, in my opinion. Obviously, they've got Cotter, Mizunuma.
Yep.
But like, he came on for the last 20 minutes. Like, they played a very like sharp and productive style of football. Like, it wasn't flash, but it was just very switched on.
Yeah.
I just felt like we sort of fell asleep when we didn't have the ball. And as I was saying earlier, like, as soon as we didn't have the ball, we just fell out of rhythm. We couldn't really get it back, do much. We couldn't create. I don't know. It was just the same old as what we've seen before, but it's just probably the worst I've seen of it.
Just as a bit of an interesting stat, Newcastle went long 18 times, and 11 of those long balls were accurate. We went long 55 times, and 29 were accurate. So the difference in game style and just how quick and sharp Newcastle were on the ball, they knew, well, it's pointless if we go long because it's just, Wooden and Caltech, it's their bread and butter. But if we play the ball on the ground, I think they pulled our midfield apart.
I saw Franey made a couple good passes out wide, but even when, it was whoever got it, I think it was like Trent or... Who else was playing up there?
So we had Despo, and then
Despo, or Shamoon, whatever.
Yeah.
They couldn't really do anything with it. Like, they tried to cut inside or whip in across, but they just kept getting closed down by the Newcastle defenders. It was the same old story. Like, we can't move past, we can't get into their box and create decent chances.
That's valid, Alex.
Look, Newcastle is in my opinion, the best coach side that we've had in the A-League since since Barcelona. I genuinely believe that because
they play some very good football.
You look at their players on paper, and it is like
it's not great
at best, a side that maybe finishes like 8th.
Yeah.
Nowhere near a first place team in the league.
And 7 wins in a row.
Huge credit to Mark Milligan for the work he's done because it's phenomenal. It's fantastic defensive structure they defend from the front really, really well. They close down in the midfield super quick. Their out wide defending is very solid. Their centre backs do really well. There's a lot of pace and recovery pace to get him for shutting down chances in behind. Very, very well coached team. In terms of possessional structure, very good at passing and moving. They do it a lot. Lachlan Bayless having a fantastic season, probably one of the standout players in the league for me this season, or at least standout midfielders. He's been fantastic the entire year. And their front line, I said that last week on the podcast, but this is a team that has almost been uncoached in sort of attacking transition. There is so much freedom.
It's like telepathic, exactly, where they move.
But there's so much freedom and faith in the ability of their attackers that you don't need to coach players like that. You have Clayton Taylor, you have Eli Adams, you have Will Dobson, Lockie Rose, Lachlan Bayless as well. Those are players that you put onto the pitch and say, do your magic, do your work, do what you can do.
The thing that bugs me, right, is you look at a squad like that and they're all young players. Yep. And then we've got a squad with the average age of what, like 27?
Well, we had our average 11. Our starting 11 average age was 24.8. Theirs was 24.6.
Yeah, but like a lot of our all our players are like pretty experienced at like top teams.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing.
And the only reason our average age was that low is because we're missing so many players. We're missing Wales, Pennington, Lawrence.
But you look at Newcastle, they've got Clayton Taylor 21, Lockie Bayless 23, Will Dobson 18, Eli Adams 23, Lockie Rose 26. It's a youthful team that is getting a fair bit of output.
That's why I just don't think it's fair to say we're in like a rebuild year, because you could say the same with Newcastle's.
Exactly. This is a team that lacks significant investment and has made the absolute most of it by a very intelligent coaching pick. They obviously did their due diligence on Mark Milligan. They obviously knew that they had adequate players in the ranks to be able to get where they wanted to be, and that they were going to give him the full backing to be able to do what he wanted to do and to be able to implement his system. And I'm not saying that to be critical of Stan Lazaridis and the Glory board. I'm saying that Mark Milligan is a coach that clearly adapted his system in a way to suit the players he had.
But I do think he inherited a technical base from Robbie Stanton. I think
he did. Robbie Stanton did a great job. I'm not denying that. Fair. But I'm saying that I think Mark Milligan is getting the most out of a relatively bare-bones squad when in comparison to a lot of other A-League teams. Whereas Adam Griffiths has shown time and time again throughout the season that he is very stubborn when it comes to the system he wants to play. There are players that arguably should be playing. There are players that arguably shouldn't be playing. Yeah. But the issue is that the system is not fitting a lot of these players. No. Outside of the back four, can we really point at any players in this team and say, arguably, the system fits them to a T? Not really. Even our double pivots that have been performing fantastically throughout the season, we've said consistently that despite Bozanovsky, Franey, Diabreu all being very impressive at points in the season, if not throughout the entire season, that the double pivot just doesn't suit anyone's style because there's no progressive passing, there's no deep line playmaking, there's not enough ball progression or carrying through the midfield, and there's not enough actual attacking ability on the wings or good technical quality on the wings to be able to spread those passes out and then go forward from there. It doesn't make sense at all. And he hasn't even... What pisses me off is that he has this insistence on playing midfielders out wide, midfielders that aren't quick, aren't good with 1v1s, out on the wings, when he could have very easily just tucked them in as dual 10s and give Sutton and Shamoon a lot more space. I saw a heat map and a positioning map for our fullbacks. You look at Shamoon's average position.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, Shamoon's average positioning in the opposition half. Sutton's average positioning is in line, if not deeper, than both of our centre-backs.
It's so fucking dumb. It's like Sutton's...
It's incredibly dumb.
Sutton's clearly our best attacking weapon as we speak right now.
Sutton is our best wide attacking option, yet he's being made to sit deeper than Brian Kaltak.
Well, he was getting up a little bit.
But then a lot of our defenders, sorry.
Yeah, but the point is that we should be getting Sam Sutton much higher up the pitch than what he has been.
Charbel Shamoon is essentially higher than our Cam in terms of average position.
Was one of the best highlights of our game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was.
That's it.
But Charbel Shamoon being higher in terms of width than our cam is questionable, but not necessarily the issue. The issue is that Sam Sutton is in our defensive half at average positioning rather than where he should be in our system, which is in the opposition half.
Look at where Despotovsky's average, like where his heat map is, and how he's just not in any threatening areas whatsoever by the box. And
what
Tavia,
I like though, sorry, I just one more.
Yep.
What I like though is this from Tavia. I do like him being there, and for viewers, James will probably pop this up on the screen now.
Yep.
I do like that inside positioning from Tavia. All right. What I'm not a fan of is the fact that Jaden Kucharski, his average positioning is in line with the left wing.
Barely any
he is nearly having his average position in the opposition.
Same
half.
with Despo. And then it's obviously Taggart, barely any actions inside the penalty box itself with his heat map. Meanwhile, Lockie Rose, plenty. Eli Adams in that half space. You've got Clayton Taylor in that half space as well, getting into areas. And it's like, I didn't see them like that. Again, as the data showed, they barely hoofed the ball, yet the way that they moved the ball allowed them to get into those areas, and they pulled our midfield apart to the point where I counted on multiple occasions, even in your vlog, I was like, there's 5 Newcastle players that are running in our back 4.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry, Josh, you wanted to...
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say there were a lot of times, and I brought it up to James, throughout the game where Sutton was... He kept making runs, but no one was passing.
No one, and that's it. Just our radar as a team with our passing is just like we're so narrow when it's like switch the ball. There's so much space, and ironically, our first chance of the game came from Kucharski switching the ball to Sam Sutton, and yet the right-footed shot was a little bit wide, but that's positive intent. Yeah, we barely saw a similar phase of play like that throughout the whole game. So in terms of the team. Lawrence has the plantar fasciitis, so that's a day-by-day thing. There's no real concrete update. Pennington was out with a groin issue, but he should be back for this game against Adelaide. Suleimani, he was dropped. Tavia, he made his debut. Kucharski and Taggart came in. Were we happy with the lineup?
I mean, from who was available, I guess I was. And back to that Lawrence, I know we desperately need him back, but I would much rather play safe with him and rest him if need be. I wouldn't risk him at all for our next game because we need him that badly.
Yeah,
I think Suleimani getting dropped was a bit of a joke, to be honest. I
thought it was harsh.
Very, very harsh. Especially
he was dropped.
Yes, he was dropped.
Yeah,
dropped. Yeah. Dropped. Nothing in terms of injury news or anything for him. And you look at the fact that on the bench. Look. I don't like to be that guy that calls out players, but Gabby Popovich as a late game sub just hasn't been working. It really just hasn't been working. And
it's mostly been at home.
You have someone on the bench in Suleimani who you know for a fact is able to play a good maybe 45 minutes off the bench to provide something different, but even is good at, even is fine enough to be a starter at this level
as well. I feel like he would have been.
But that's the thing. It's like if
he's stronger, right?
But it's not even that. It's the long balls, and it's like every single time it's like we have no form of progression other than to hoof it long. It's like why not have Suleimani who would chase after anything?
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
That when the striker gets dragged out wide, as often as they do in our team, he's shown that he has a little bit of ability there to actually get on the line and make something happen.
Yeah.
But we don't pick him. I don't understand
it's confusing. So,
no Wales.
Yeah, so Griff was saying it was a minor knee issue. So we heard a bit of info that it might have been something different, but it sounds like it's a minor issue. So hopefully he'll be back within the team hopefully soon. Now, on commentary, they mentioned that the Jets arrived on Tuesday for the game on Friday. So they gave them time to acclimatise.
Good for them.
Because that's the thing. I felt that, and I did say this during the game. I just felt that they had a spring in their step, and they had much more energy than us. And
I wouldn't read too much into that, to be honest, because I feel like we've sort of fixed our away form, to be honest.
But it's more so about intensity, right? So this was one.
I just think they play efficient football. That's why they looked a lot sharper.
That's true, but
I don't think it's a physical fitness advantage. I think it's just they play.
They play a brand of football that allows them to just short sharpen. It works. But the point I was wanting to make was PPDA, defensive intensity, was our second worst level of intensity this season. And there was a clear difference because I just felt we were passive throughout the whole game and very slow to get out. So Sutton obviously had that chance early. When did Taggart have that chance? It was pretty early, wasn't it?
It was pretty early,
Yeah.
It was before the first goal.
Don't know. I mean,
I think about 3.5 to 4 minutes into my match.
I think it was about that. Yeah, and it's just because it was a good watch. To be fair, go check it out.
Go check it out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think Tags is overthinking it because it's like maybe there's that kind of pressure for him of like wanting to make the World Cup, and there's that extra pressure.
I don't think it's
mentally.
the pressure of making the World Cup. I mean,
pressure to perform.
I thought it would be more the pressure due to his contract running out and him wanting to get it renewed at a good contract.
Look, I just think he's
because at this rate he's obviously a high earner. At this rate, if he wants it comes end of the season, the club aren't going to. If he continues down this form, they're not going to pay him as much as if he were to, keep scoring goals. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I think he's internally just there has to be that confidence issue. There has to be some factors because that was one. Like, I love Tags, but for me, that was one of the worst games I've seen from him. I just thought his link-up play was poor. I think he wasn't getting helped either by the amount of times we were just pumping it long to him. And I think you mentioned it when Tags came off. He literally sat on the bench and he wasn't like complaining, but he was kind of like fuck and sort of.
I think it's partly is overthinking it. I don't think Socceroos because. Before when he didn't make the World Cup, I don't think it really affected. Like in 2018, it didn't really affect.
2022.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, 2022. I don't think it really affected his play.
Yeah, but either way, there's something up, and we need to sort it out quickly because if we, I don't want to be too harsh, but if we,
he's 100%.
Well, if we don't make the finals, for me, a key reason for that was Taggart not having anywhere near the output that we need, and that's not just on him.
He just doesn't look hungry anymore, man. I'm sorry, he just doesn't have that same hunger anymore. Look. I don't want to make a claim and say that it's a definite, but when I look at the way he's been playing this season, it looks to me like he is just tired. He's really burnt out.
Yeah, tired. Because if you got a random game from when he played under Stadge versus what he played,
take a random Tags game at Macedonia Park versus a random Tags game now, and the difference is night and day.
Yeah,
night and day difference.
I just think he's going through a rough patch because even
it's a pretty big rough patch.
I know, but even under Zrilix, when he got fed scraps, he still managed to score like 10 goals. So
yeah, but I think that was a product of him cashing in a few games. It wasn't like it was sustained. No, but it's like
I know that Adelaide game, right?
Yeah,
he's always been a threat in the air. Like if you cross in a ball to Tags, like that's going in. Like now it's like he can't even get his head on the ball.
Well, we don't even create those cutbacks for him. We don't get quick balls out wide.
No, but there's been a lot of times, like what was the game? Was it Victory when he had a clear-cut chance? Stadge or Tags a year ago would have scored that 9 times out of 10 and he couldn't even get it on target. It was like right at the back post. It was
maybe the Victory home game?
Victory home game.
Yeah, that was, It's a talking point either way, and I think we've got to... but I also think to Tag's defence, he's not getting enough in terms of volume, and it's just the case with all our forwards. And then meanwhile with Newcastle, the first goal that they scored through Lockie Bayliss,
brilliant goal.
What the fuck were we doing defensively? Just sound asleep. They played their corner short. We were way too slow to get out. Bayliss, he got past Luka Tavia. And then, obviously, a great finish, but you can't be switching off at a set piece. Particularly given that, we conceded the second goal in almost the same way.
I saw a lot of people giving crap to Tavia there. I think it's a bit harsh because realistically in that scenario, you do have to come down and close down the man. Yep. You do have to come and close down the man. It's not great that he skipped past him, but also he's got no backup. Yeah. He received zero
how does
backup
why is Daniel Wilmering, who plays the ball out to Bayliss, I think it was, why is he not under immediate pressure? How is he able to have a touch and then pass the ball out?
Couldn't tell you.
So, I just think it was pretty sloppy from us. The Jets, the way that they played, I loved watching it live, and probably shouldn't be saying that, but I just loved their football, how they were doing it.
100%.
I thought Scott Wooden had a very, very good game, and the amount of last-ditch blocks that he made.
Yeah.
Like I said, saved it from being quite an ugly score.
I still think even Kautak had a good game, bar the red card. I just think Newcastle, first goal, that was not their fault.
No.
Second goal, maybe, but it was more of a team. The last 2 goals were, you can't blame that.
They were,
on.
yeah.
It was just
I think the issues
occurred
for that last goal, which we'll get into a little bit later. That was more of like it occurred up the pitch, and we just fucked it up from there.
I think consistently they both get overlooked because I think that centre back pairing is the best we've had in years.
Easily,
100%.
It's been and
100%.
and
Easily the best we've had since
the back three.
The back three under Popper.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah,
with what was it back then? Grant, Lauer, and Sporanovic or something like that.
Yeah, or Vutric. You know, those
Vutric.
Yeah. I don't understand why Griff didn't make the sub at halftime to bring on Kolakowski. That made absolutely no sense to me when you've got Despo, who was on a yellow card, Tavia, who wasn't doing well out wide as I think he did in the middle. Kaczarski wasn't making much of an impact. He had options, and it took for Newcastle to score about 2 or 3 minutes into the second half for Griff to then bring Collar on. It just didn't make any sense.
That's what frustrated me as well, is that we had no sign that Collar was going to come on anytime soon. As soon as Newcastle scored the second, then he's sent to warm up. And that was a minute and a half or 2 minutes into the second half. It's just like, okay, well, if you weren't going to sub him on at halftime, what's the point of you looking to sub him on 2 minutes into the second half?
Yeah. But again, it's reactive from Griff. We're yet to see proactive moves from Griff, and it's like it
shows a lack of foresight as well.
Yeah, because it's like well, what's Collar? It's like you've now put Collar in a much more difficult position where we're 2 goals down, and I thought when he came on, he was our best threat out wide. I loved how he would take the ball and want to drive and link up and create. But yeah, the goal that Lockie Rose scored not long after halftime, like I said, very similar to the first goal. Short corner was taken quickly. I think it was Despo was a little bit too slow to track the run of Bayless, and then the quick cross, and then we just stood like statues. It was Easter Island defending, but it was like fucking drillable from last season in terms of the goals that we conceded.
Stonehenge defending, bro.
Take your pick, mate. But either way, it was it was poor. For what this team has been defensively under Griff this season.
That's a hell of an analogy, by the way. Easter Island defending. That's a new one from the...
You know a coach was bad when every bad goal gives you flashbacks to him.
Oh my God, bro.
The crimes from
like we've had we've had Zadkovic, we've had all the Garcia,
some bozo goals on the stage.
And like the first coach you think of when I know he's our most recent, but like the first coach you think of, and I don't think this will change for the next 10 years, when you see a shit goal, is David Zrillich.
That's just how it is.
It is a shame that that's what his legacy is now. But
thoughts on the goal from Lockie Rose?
The second one,
there's not really much to say.
There's not much to say. We fell asleep again from a set piece. It happens every week now. Mate, he's Timu Hoyland. I said this. He's the Timu of the Timu Haaland.
Yes, yeah.
Look, we fell asleep again from a set. Stop saying LA Rose, bro. The commentators need to stop saying LA Rose. Such woke nonsense, bro. Call him Lachlan, bro. Stop with this shit.
Yeah.
But we fell asleep again from a set piece. I'd like to know how many on the... If anyone in the comments could get like a counter of how many goals we've conceded from slow or inadequate set piece defending, I would love to know the answer to that question, but it's got to be approaching the double digits at this point, because I swear every single week we concede one of these goals where we're just half asleep at the beginning of a set piece and we end up conceding from it.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing, man. It's so goddamn disappointing.
It's
every week with this shit.
But the fact that it's basically the same twice, and it's like Griff talks about, again, with his pressures, he's like, we need to be focused. We need to work 110%. And it's like, well, then why the fuck do we not resemble that on the pitch? What's the story? Why are we not switched on? Why are we not concentrating for every single moment? This is a must-win game at home against the top team.
I've been saying this for a while. I don't get it. And you can say, it's a normal football thing, but it's not. Well, it is and it's not. If you're a top team, whenever we score, we switch on. But it's like, why can't we switch on from the get-go? You know what I mean? We need that. Why can't we have that drive from kickoff?
I thought our passing was dreadful this game as a team. The amount of shit passes that we had that just went out or were just not on the same wavelength. I like that Wilfrini was trying to be more of a deep-lying playmaker. I think if he adds that level to his game, I think more clubs in Europe will want him, because I liked it when he did try to switch the ball, but I think he should have done it a lot more. I think that
I thought he did it quite a bit, James.
There could have been more. To just change, to switch, like, because you're not going to get, because unfortunately,
enough.
Because unfortunately, it was only down to him because Gidi Abreu, he's got his qualities as like a Kante kind of midfielder, but on the ball with his passing, I think it's pretty stodgy, and that's no offense to him, but like there's lots of areas of his game that are pretty good, but I don't think passing is his best attribute.
Yeah.
I thought in the second half with our shape, I thought we were too wide and too high. And this kind of leads on to the Caltac red card. So if you have a look at the replay and look at Glory's defenders and just our team and how wide we are, Newcastle were clearly wanting those transition moments. That's what they had a lot of in the second half. And because the space was that big, it's impossible to control that the moment you lose the ball. So then when Caltac mishits his pass and obviously can't deal with it and it's a 2v1, Caltac panics, grabs a bit of, was it Gibson? Ben Gibson, who he grabbed? His shorts?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, grabs his shorts, and then the ref has, no alternative but to give a red card.
It is a red card.
But
it's a red card, but what do you do?
But that's the thing. It comes down for me when it's like, when's the last time we've seen Glory under Griff in that kind of shape? We're never normally that expansive with our play. It's very rigid. It's very kind of, we don't want to have our players having high starting positions. It's like we kind of want to be in our shape because we're too scared of losing the ball, sort of thing. And so I just think we set ourselves up to fail. Gibson, there was a chance that he had where the ball was played over the top. I think Woots tried to step up and play him offside. It looked like at the time that he was offside. Went back and saw the replay. He timed his run expertly well, and that probably could have been a goal. But, he obviously missed. The third goal, that goal I hated watching at the time. Because it was Sam Sutton who, he went for that slide, missed, and then lied on the ground, and it was sort of like, like that for me in terms of attitude. When it's a must-win game and you fuck up, it's like it's okay if you fuck up, but it's like get up and try and help your teammates, particularly when you're a man down.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, and then it was the 3v2 Mizunuma. He had options aplenty. Good finish by Bertoncello. And I thought, I was like, fair play Newcastle. You're obviously a top team, but fuck, I thought we gave it to them.
Considered a goal to fucking Limoncello, bro. I can't believe it.
Thoughts on the goal?
I don't want to give thoughts on the goal, James. I think you've said enough, actually.
Is there any Josh, any thoughts on the goal?
No.
Fair.
What thoughts can you give on that goal? It's just so shit.
It's just stupid. It's like, again, it's like watching previous Glory teams where we concede stupid bozo goals at home.
Control V, just copy paste.
Yeah, real.
Pretty much. Good to see Collar get on the score sheet. Did he give a 6-7 in front of the shed?
No.
Briefly? No.
If he did, I think they would have been pissed. Understandably so.
I would like to see him score a goal when we're not behind so he can celebrate, but
I would like to see that as well. We had a funny little chat with him outside the members lounge as well at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
You remember it?
Yeah. I think you initiated it.
Yeah, I said I don't know. For the people at home who might have seen on the Kit Dealer's Instagram the video with Kolakovsky where he's wearing the Perth Glory
Speedos.
underpants.
Whatever.
The budgie smugglers.
Yeah, the budgie smugglers. I said, is that the secret for? Because he said in the interview when he joined back, he said, when I score my first goal, I'm going to hit a 6-7 in front of the shed and take off either my shirt or pants, but I don't know which one.
Yeah.
And I said, if you do take off the pants, we're going to see the Glory branded underwear. And he said, that's the reason. He said, why do you think I've been getting a goal or assist every single game? And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough, man. Fair fucking play.
Yeah.
I love Steph, bro. He's great.
Yeah. But, the goal, to be fair, it was a good ball from Osler to Shamoon, who headed the ball across, and then, a good finish, but it's like, again,
why are we subbing him on so late?
Yeah. And just it was.
We know because after the game, we know he's ready to start. Physically, he's ready to start. It's not a fitness thing.
He has to be.
That's purely Griff's decision.
Yeah, and I think he has to start this game against.
He has to. If he doesn't start, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous if he doesn't.
Because you may as well have as a starting lineup off the bat. As like I've just thought about it. You have Tavia and Tags, assuming Lawrence isn't ready. You then have Collar off the left, and I know you don't like it, but JK off the right.
No, I like that.
No, I don't dislike it. I just think he's
better in the middle.
Through the middle.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I think for me, that would be what I would go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was about it for the game. As I wrote down, we got bullied. Again, finals, while it is mathematically possible, it's pretty unlikely.
I don't think we're going to make finals, unfortunately. No. I think it's dead and buried.
Would you drop Tags? That was intense, Jesus.
No, but it's
long pause. Really had to think about that one.
No, it's. I consider it.
There's being a case built for it.
I'd consider it because we need something. I don't think many players in the attack can justify starting.
I just think it sends a really bad message when Tags is on bad form and his competition in Aaron Soleimani is being dropped from the squad entirely. I think it sends a really bad message.
But I've been saying this. I don't think he's 100%. Keep him on the bench, rest him. You know what I mean?
I can agree with that. Honestly, I don't mind it. I just think that Soleimani needs to be involved in the squad every single week. Whether it's starting or on the bench, I think he needs to be involved in the squad.
How can he build any consistency when he's in and out of the team?
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is when you have a star striker who's underperforming, you look at Man City when Haaland wasn't performing. They dropped him like 3 games straight for Marmoush, who came in and performed really well. Yeah. All right? I'm not saying that Soleimani is Marmoush and Taggart is Haaland. What I am saying is that when you have a star striker who's not performing, you can't just persist because it's your star striker. Yep. You have a backup player there for a reason. Right? Soleimani is a player that very obviously is highly talked about at the club as having very good potential and could be a potential player for the future. Yeah. So why is he not being involved in the squad? Are you saying that the alternative starter to Adam Taggart is G. Popovic? Because if it is, then go ahead, start G. Popovic. But I think that you've got Aaron Soleimani, who has started games, has proven that he's a capable player, has gotten involved in goals before when being able to get game time. Add him to the squad at least, man. What's the point of dropping him from the squad entirely?
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think either way, I don't think Tag's position right now should be as a guaranteed starter.
I don't think so.
What would your thoughts be if we were to start Collar on the left?
Yep.
And then you have Tavia next to Tags.
Yep.
And then you've got Tavia. Tavia next to Tags, Kaczarski on the right.
I suggested that, didn't I?
He did just say this, Josh.
No, sorry. I was just thinking, I was thinking in my head, is Lawrence going to be back or not? Sorry, swap Lawrence for Tags. Would you consider that?
Lawrence and Tavia as the 2?
Yes.
It's a bit funky, but I think with how Griff plays, a lot of it stems from...
Or maybe you could switch Tavia with Kaczarski, but... Potentially on the left.
Yeah, potentially. But I think it's my frustration is how Griff plays, the model of play that we have.
Griff doesn't make use of his strikers.
That it just makes almost any player in our front line redundant. So it doesn't matter. Like we made Despo and Tavia initially as wingers play a game that's just not their game style. Why are you asking them to make runs in behind? That's not their game. Bring them inside. Let them combine with the midfielders. Ask questions of the Newcastle backline. And the fact that he didn't do that for me and that it's still the same shit, I'm like, for me, right now, in terms of whether I'd renew Griffo's contract right here, right now, if you're asking me, I'm leaning 75-25 to not renewing it.
I'm leaning a bit further and saying not renewing it, to be completely honest.
See, if we were playing a front 3, I'd love to have Wales back because I actually think he'd thrive in a front 3.
I think so as well, but I also think the shape is irrelevant when the behaviours and the structure and what Griff is wanting. It's like you're still going to get 3 guys that are still standing there doing nothing. They're not there's no movement. Like Tavia is a player that, from what I've seen from him in the brief clips from when he was at Avondale, is a guy that wants to be on the ball, and he played as an advanced 8 in a midfield 3. He was always involved in the middle. Yeah, Griff's gone out wide, please. No, don't get involved. No. Stay on the last line. No, you're not allowed to drop in.
We keep signing attacking midfielders and playing them as wingers. Like I get I don't have a problem with signing Tavia, but if he was going to be our only January signing, you'd think we'd sign like a winger, natural winger.
DiPizio would have been ideal, but
would have been ideal.
But we wouldn't have gotten him in January.
I mean, it's not necessarily that. I think it's more just he would have wanted to hold out for an overseas move. There's not really any point in his career of moving from Mariners to the Glory.
All right. Player ratings.
Oh, yippee.
Here we go.
Oh,
So
this bunch of liberal propaganda.
Kolakowski was the man of the match with 28% of the vote.
Yep, fair enough.
Now, for the most part, these ratings are pretty ugly. They're not terrible, but they're not great. Matt Sutton. You guys gave him a 4.9. We gave him a 4.3. Any objections to that?
What did I give him?
You gave him a 5.
Yeah, honestly fair.
You gave him a 5, Josh. I gave him a 4. Will gave him a 4. Alex gave him a 4.
It's just we conceded 3 goals.
Yeah.
So by default. Shabelle Shamoon. You guys gave him a 4.3. We gave him a 4.4.
Okay.
Brian Kaltak. You guys gave him a 3.7. We gave him a 3.8.
What did you guys
What
rate
did you
him?
guys give
So Josh, you gave him a 6.
I gave him...
I gave him a 3. Will gave him a 4. And Alex, you gave him a 2.
Josh, he got a red card. And you,
Yeah, I know he got a red card.
and you said 6 out of... That's above average.
Yeah, okay, what do you suppose you were supposed to do? Just let the defender, the attacker score a goal?
No, but he's got a red card and he's now suspended, Josh.
It's just... But it's only
But
because...
before that, what would you rate him?
Before that, I probably would have
about
given him
5.
like a 5.5 or 6.
But it's
But
just...
after the red card, it's like...
I know he got a red card, but what do you suppose he does? He did his
But
job.
it's because he gets the red card. It just doesn't matter anymore. That's what he did before.
Look, in hindsight, sure, we can say that. But at that point in the game, a red card, sure. But like now he's out for... Have we got any...
Is it 2 weeks?
I believe it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks for a
2
straight
weeks, I
red?
believe. Yep.
Okay.
Fuck.
So he's missing Adelaide and Brisbane.
So a 2.
Yes.
Two's a bit...
Because he has essentially cooked us for the next 2 games because we are without our
Well,
top
we're
performing
fucked
centre back
against
this season.
Brisbane.
Well, yeah,
That's
pretty
the
much.
thing. Scott Wooden, you guys gave him a 5.2. We gave him a 5.9. I think that's a bit low for Scott from the fans.
I think, yeah, I think
He's,
so.
again, last minute blocks.
I mean, we conceded 3 goals. So.
No, but
No.
he made more saves than Sutton did, bro.
Yeah, he did. He did. I think that was the frustrating thing from that game altogether. If I'm not wrong, all of Newcastle's shots on target were goals.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, block shots don't count for shots on target.
Obviously. So Sam Sutton, you guys gave him a 5. We gave him a 5.1.
Yep.
Gio Diabriou, you guys gave him a 5.2. We gave him a 5.5. Will Freeney, you guys gave him a 5.3. We gave him a 6.1.
I think that's a bit harsh from the fans. I thought.
Hang on,
Will had
sorry.
a good
What did
game.
they give Debris?
They gave Diabriou a 5.2. We gave him a 5.5.
And they gave Will a 5.3.
Yes, slightly higher.
I think that's a bit harsh on Will. I thought he had a good game.
I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, I thought he had a good game as well.
He looked a lot more involved in it. He was shooting. He was shooting.
I wonder who told him to do that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know who told him to do that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it. I like seeing Will get involved more.
Okay, so Will gets 0.1
Higher than
higher,
Diabriou.
and he
by the
was
fans.
arguably probably our second best player.
Yes. I gave him man of the match, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I gave him higher. I gave him a 6.5, I think. So he was tied higher.
So for Freeney,
yeah.
So Josh, you gave him a 7. I gave him a 5.5, but that was just blanket. I gave most people pretty low ratings. Will gave him a 5, and then Alex, you gave him a 7.
I gave him a 7.
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
So there you go. Luca Tavia.
I thought he had a good game, man.
You guys gave him a 4.6. We gave him a 5.3.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
What did I give him?
Come
a 6?
on.
You gave Tavia a 6. I gave Tavia a 5. Will gave him a 5. And Alex, you gave him a 5.
Alex, I thought you said before this episode started that my ratings were howlers.
What do you mean?
You said before we started
That-
recording.
well-
my ratings
last
are
week, last
howlers.
week.
Sorry,
last week,
Josh,
that was a
you
shocker.
gave a centre back that got sent off a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, but I like it. There's no consistency.
You gave him,
with
by the way,
viewers-
you gave
the viewers, if you
Caltac
don't
a rating,
agree,
one
let us
rating
know
lower
that-
than
yeah.
Freeney.
But how can you judge a whole game based on one?
Because that one decision that he made
Pretty
affected
monumental.
the outcome of his game, his personal game, and affected the outcome of the actual game.
Adam Taggart. This one was pretty brutal. You guys gave him a 3.4. We gave him a 3.6.
Fair enough.
Jaden Kaczarski, not much better. You guys gave him a 3.8. We gave him a 4.1.
Okay, that's a bit much. That's a bit much.
Did JK do that much?
I mean,
though?
he didn't really do anything wrong, but he didn't really do that much.
I can knock Taggart's rating and say that he categorically missed a really good chance and just was not good.
Yeah.
JK, I don't think was awful. I just think that he was struggling
Just
to get
invisible.
involved in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. And
But that's less so on him and more so on the
of course,
team.
yeah. I just think, the viewers were just standard review bombing. And then with Seb Despotovsky, you guys gave him a 4 and we gave him a 4.9.
Jesus.
Stiff. Stefan Kolakowski, you guys gave him a 6.3. We gave him a 6.4.
Yep.
Trent Osler, you guys gave him a 4.3. We gave him a 4.1.
That's fair.
Zach Lizalewski, you guys gave him a 4.4. We gave him a 5.
Just stand. He did well. He did well when he came in.
He'll get to probably start, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll get 2 starts
Likely,
probably.
yeah. Gabriel Popovich, you guys gave him a 3.6. We gave him a 4.5.
Why did we rate him so high?
Probably just because he didn't have enough time to really do anything.
Yeah.
But the other week we gave Cal Timmins like a 2 because he didn't have enough time to do anything.
I didn't give him a 2. James gave.
I gave him a 4.
We all gave him a 5. We all gave him a
4.
5, but James gave him a 4 because he said he did too many bad tackles.
Well, so
no, we drew.
We drew.
Okay.
Fuck
these ratings.
Cal Timmins.
I don't like him.
Cal Timmins, you guys gave him a 3.7. We gave him a 5.
A 3.7?
Yeah, that's what the viewers gave him.
Bro, what are you guys doing, man?
Fucking viewers, man.
What are you doing? A 3.7?
Yeah. And then,
why?
And then Adam Griffiths, you guys gave him a 3.5. We gave him a 3.
You guys are being too generous for
Josh gave him a 4. I gave him a 3. Will gave him a 3, and you gave him a 2.
No, I gave him a 2. I gave him a 2.
Again, it's the same questions for Griff, and we're not getting any answers whatsoever. I'd be more than happy for him to prove us wrong with the team performing better and him showing evidence with his game model that it can be sustainable and it can get us finals long term.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm yet to see any real evidence since the start of January. If I was in Stan's position to go, yep, you deserve another contract. You're the guy to lead us for the next 2 to 3 years. We can't be doing what we did last season was Driller, where it's like, maybe, if we give him better players or whatever, we'll see improvement. And then, 2 games in, see you later. So I'd hate for us to be in that position next season if we do give Griff a contract and it's not really supported by a good rationale. Speaking of which, we've got Adelaide Coopers Friday night. They're coming off the back of a 2-1 win against Sydney FC without Craig Goodwin. I didn't see Ayrton Andrioli bitching about not having Craig Goodwin, but
no, I didn't see that either.
Some teams can roll their sleeves up and get the job done. So their form is relatively good. They're currently 3rd on the table. Can we get some?
Adelaide's that team every year. You're like, oh, they're going to be shit this year. They got a shit squad, and then every year they get better. It's crazy the consistency. Even like considering they sacked their coach as well, new coach.
Yeah.
What do we think?
I think it's going to be a really tough game, to be honest, a really rough one. I was negative enough going into this game with Brian Kaltak. I'm now even more
pessimistic
without Brian Kaltak, especially because you look at how quick Adelaide are getting behind the lines with guys like Yaya Dakuli, Amlani Tatu off the bench, guys like Luka Jovanovic as well. I understand that Zach Lizalewski is most likely the guy that comes in and replaces Brian Kaltak, but God damn,
that's not even my biggest concern, to be honest.
That's a big concern for me, bro.
He's got some like A-League experience, and we've got to fall back on. It's not like I'm just saying that we're going up against a team that loves to get in behind lines as their main mode of attack, and we are missing our best physical presence in defense. Yeah, I know, but
it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a very, very rough one.
Yeah. Off the bat, what are some predictions?
Oh God. Well, let's go over what we'd like our lineups to be first, James.
That's the only change with the front 4.
I think.
And then Zach.
I think I can agree entirely with that, and then Zach in for Kaltak.
Yeah.
Probably, but I would not mind seeing Jab starting next to Scotty Woods. Yeah, I love Zach.
The physical profile.
Absolutely love Zach. Would not mind at all if he starts.
Yeah, but Jab hasn't really played that
I
much.
know, that's my only concern, but neither is Zach, to be fair.
No, Zach's at least featured more off the bench.
That's fair.
Recently, so I think by default he gets the nod. Any other changes to the team?
I don't think so. Just put Suleimani back on the fucking bench, man. Like, why are we excluding him from the matchday squad full stop?
Ask Griff. I mean, like, fuck, it just doesn't make any sense.
You can't ask Griff because he gives you a one-word answer. That's the problem, James.
Why'd you drop Suleimani? I don't know.
I think maybe we owe Popper some favours or something.
Mate.
I don't know about that, but it's questionable at the very least that, that there are some players that just get shadow realmed. I mean, like even Josh Risden as an example. He's fit.
Where's Rizzo?
He's fit and hasn't even been involved in the squad since God knows how long. I mean, like, I'm even at the point with, unfortunately, with Shabel Shamoon's performances where I'd consider giving Rizzo a run.
I'd consider giving a lot of people a run right now. I mean, jab, put him back at right back, bro. See how he does.
I have no problem with fighting for positions because that's the reason why we have so many players, right?
Yeah.
We signed 7 midfielders. I thought the whole point of that, we had 7 midfielders. I thought the whole point of that was because you want competition fighting for places. If a player has a bad game, you've got someone else who will eagerly take their spot.
Yep.
Yep. Would you do any other changes to the squad for against Adelaide or?
A change formation.
Yeah, that'd be nice as a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can do to sort of change a lot. There's a lot of people still out injured. Yeah. Brandon O'Neill, I think,
Riley
still out
Fox
injured
will
as
be
well.
Back next week.
No. He picked up a fresh injury in the NPL by the looks of it, which is very unfortunate.
Shit luck.
Prayers out to Riley right now. Was just coming back
Anthony
from an ankle.
Didlitza was out for a week as well. But
Riley Fox was out with an ankle injury. I think picked up a knee problem against Kingsway.
That's why I brought up the whole facilities thing, because the only thing I can sort of defend Griff for is, like, and this has been a topic for a long time, do I think all of our players are at 100%? No.
Well, this is the thing. I think every single player, let's say, for example, in our front line, which has had the most change in terms of personnel, every single attacker has at least had 1 or 2 injuries.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a bit suspect, and I think whether it's down to the surface, whether it's
for
down
the club
to the
with the stature of Perth Glory to be having the
don't-
facilities that we do is a disgrace. It really is a disgrace.
Well, the fact that we had Mirrabooka and then we didn't want to train there, yet our women's team are training there and there's no problems, is a little bit of a concern for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I just think the players, they've got to... This one for me, like, we've bashed Griff a fair bit, but I think for the players, we sort of mentioned it last week, but it's like, I don't know if these guys want finals badly enough.
They need to switch on.
I don't think... I genuinely...
I think some do.
As a team, that's the problem. I don't think as a team we want finals enough. I think there are definitely players who play like they want to win and they're going to do everything it takes to win. But I think we've got too many passengers or too many guys that don't have the balls to take games by the scruff of the neck.
I know they're professionals, but I think they've also got a lot of doubts in their mind. You know, they're seeing players left, right, and centre leave, like Amos and stuff. And they're like, oh, am I next? You know, are we going to do another 11-player rebuild next season because we don't finish top 6? And
well, I think in the interim at the very...
You've got a lot of players going off contract.
You do, but in the interim, though, as we said like ages ago in a podcast when we were talking about Stadge that season, you honour that contract until you're either told to go or that contract gets renewed. And there's still a little bit to fight for this season. Finals is, as I said, still a mathematical chance, but I think... Like that performance against Newcastle, and even just our last month, our performances have been shit for the standards that, you know, the club set when they sacked Driller. They said, we believe and the board believe this team is finals. All the players have told us, you know, we see a good dressing room. We know what a good dressing room looks like. We believe we can make the finals. Every single test pretty much that we've had, are we a finals team? Are we ready? Does our game plan, do our players stack up against the very best? We've failed more often than not.
Yeah.
So... And that's the thing, no team in the A-League this season has lost more games than us. So how can you possibly say that, oh, we deserve to play finals? No, you don't. So unless you want to change our mind, Adelaide away, I think the last time we won against Adelaide away was Richie Garcia, 2021, I think.
God.
So there's your challenge. Do we want to touch on transfers?
Yes. Outgoings throughout the past week, we had a few. Obviously, the only new coming was... Shut up. Obviously, there was a rumor about Tom Ince. That did not happen. The only new coming...
That's for next season, allegedly.
The only new coming was, of course, Luca Tavia. The A-League transfer window has shut, but the mutual termination window...
keeps on delivering.
The wheels keep on turning, baby.
Amos has gone to a club in the K2.
Yes,
Gamulka,
Amos has moved
Canada.
to the Korean second division. Gamulka has moved to Canada. We haven't heard exact club yet, but we're assuming it's the Canadian Premier League.
Majek's loan.
Majek's a loan out to Dandenong.
That's the same as Kwa. That's also the same as Aden Bulgaria.
So Bulgaria went on loan to Marconi. Kwa went on loan to Vietnam.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact club. And
I think it's...
I don't want to. I
don't want to guess either.
Yeah,
but I think I think he's doing relatively well there.
Yeah, he scored a couple of times over there already.
Kalen, I think it's better for him that he's playing in a higher standard of NPL than
this is a guy that was playing in the Australian under-23s about just under a month ago, and he wasn't getting any game time at A-League level. He needs to be starting consistent minutes.
I think
he is going to do that at Dandenong. I do.
Yeah, but I think we've got some further tough calls over our squad moving forward, particularly if it is a hard cap next season.
Well, it is down to 29 players. If you're counting players that are on actual professional deals, that technically doesn't include Ryan Warner and Diabreu, so that brings it to 28. But if you include Ryan Warner and Diabreu, who have been in and around the A-League squad, it brings it to 30.
Jesus.
So that is where the squad is right now at the moment. There could be some further movement in terms of player departures, but I don't foresee
more
that.
of an end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's more going to be an end of the season thing. Obviously, there's a lot of discussions about players that aren't in the squad. Yep. Obviously, the likes of Cammy Cook rehabbing a lot of injuries right now.
Yep.
Josh Resden, we haven't seen him for a while. Brandon O'Neill,
timeline on Lockie Wales from
no timeline on Lockie Wales. But look, there's a lot of contracts that are coming up at the end of the season. It's just something we're going to have to keep an eye on, unfortunately. We don't like to talk about it, but unfortunately it is part of football, having to talk about these kinds of
particularly if we
things.
don't make the finals.
Absolutely.
So that's just how it goes.
We'll touch as well on the
women's team.
Well, yeah, the women's team.
I do want to touch on that because they had a big win at home against Canberra.
They did. Huge win.
I don't know where that puts them on the table, but I'm going to find out.
I think we are just outside of the top 6, if I'm not
mistaken.
mistaken. 7th, I think.
8th. Fuck. What happened?
Well, we've got a game in hand. Game in hand.
Right.
All right, that's huge. But yeah, congrats to them. That was a huge win.
Yeah,
very tightly contested.
Jets away. Surely we can beat Jets away.
Very, very tightly contested league this season.
Jesus, there's literally nothing.
The W League.
Hell.
But between second and 8th, there is 4 points.
What
between
the hell?
second and 8th. That is
finals is mathematically possible.
We're doing it. We're going all the way.
The calculators don't need it coming out.
In terms of the NPL side as well, unfortunately exited the
was it Kingsway that we lost to?
Olympic Kingsway 2-1 to a last minute goal, which was unfortunate. Did see a number of A-League players down in there just getting their minutes up. Unfortunately, that did result in Riley Fox actually picking up an injury as well, which is a very big shame. Prayers out to you, Riley. We do hope the recovery comes along all right. But I'm very excited about where the NPL team's going to be this year. A lot of good young players.
Hey, well, we've seen Despo Guetta go in the first team. Labib, Pearman, Benny. There's a pathway that's there.
Diabreu.
If someone wants to, if you're good enough and you get your opportunity, make sure to take with both hands.
100%.
We've had a good run of young guys come through.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's a wrap,
unless there's anything. Yeah,
that's a wrap.
Should be.
Well, I mean, yeah. Let's see how we go against Adelaide. We'll keep the comments on Instagram and Twitter. So after every game, make sure to give us your thoughts there, or the post-match player ratings are always available on our Instagram story and also on Twitter.
Make sure to subscribe as well. Subscribe. We're on the road
listening from wherever you do.
We're on the road to 10 million subscribers.
Yeah, we don't quite have that.
Look, my end goal for this podcast is eventually we're going to have more subscribers than the Glory have attendees at games, and that's going to be like. That's going to be a funny
last one. Shout out to the little legends that came up to us with their bricks.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
In the members lounge.
I promised I'd shout them out. So
yes.
Here we go. Hopefully they stuck around this long.
If not, that's Alex's fault.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. But a huge shout out to Leo, Carl with a K, Ronan and Luca. You guys are legends. Thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come take photos with us, and it was an honor signing your bricks as well. That sounds really bad.
Back to the members lounge. I love it how every time we lose, they shut the bar off before you can.
They could not wait to get us out. They couldn't wait to kick us out.
Mate, they're just like Dave Winkler's is going to be an ish.
Dave was in good form.
Do we want to speak about the fight?
We probably should just touch on that briefly.
We have time.
We do have time. The issue is we don't have a lot. We don't have info. A lot of. It's all sort of just he said, she said.
Yeah, I think
in terms of the shed scenario, we do have a lot of information regarding the Bay scenario, and we probably should touch on that. NPB security. Useless. You guys are fucking useless. I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, there's probably not anyone from NPB watching this, but if this clip or anything ever finds you, sort your shit out, please. I don't want to be that guy, but putting up security guards that There are several requirements that you need to sort out these scenarios of football games. But the fact that these security guards are a lot of the time short, a lot of the time are scared of conflict by the fact that they run away. A lot of the time
just quickly are overly antagonistic to guys in the shed.
No, but we're talking about the Bay.
But as an example, that MPB is still the same.
Yeah, sorry. But with the shed, extreme. With the shed, a lot of the time it is older individuals that a lot of the time are women, are very short and not able to deal with conflict, are often scared of the conflict. And a big one for me is that a lot of them are seemingly not the greatest English language speakers from my personal experience with them.
So they can't diffuse a situation.
They're unable to diffuse situations, but they're also unwilling to actually act on a situation. And there was a scenario in which a Perth Glory regular in the Bay who had just come out of a serious shoulder injury in which he was in a sling, finally got his sling off on the day of the game, had his shoulder torn back out of its socket, I've heard, or redislocated.
There's an issue
by some shit stirrer who was in the Bay, who was told to leave. Then threatened to R-word one of the members of the Bay leadership. Yeah. And MPB security did fuck all about it. And when they did do something about it, they removed the kid with the shoulder injury who had just had his shoulder redislocated by the shit stirrer kids, who were left in there and were then allowed by MPB security to break a chair that they then
footage. I think it was like 50,000 views.
They were then able to break a chair that they put into their backpack and walked out of the stadium without repercussion. MPB had a hotline. MPB actually has a hotline for anyone who doesn't know that you can call
or text
when there is a scenario at a game. The hotline was called. It took 12 minutes for a response, and a response was received 12 minutes later after they had already assaulted a child. The assaulted child was then removed incorrectly.
Yeah.
They had broken stadium property, stolen stadium property, and left the stadium. After all of that had been done, finally there was a response saying, we are looking at the CCTV footage.
MPB... It's hard because you want to find a balance. You obviously don't want to over-police a game. But as well, you've got to... You can't really control who comes in, but it's just doing the right thing.
The problem is that there's too many issues with MPB security, be it with the Bay and be it with the shed, because there was obviously what happened with them as well, because we saw it with police entering.
We do want to touch on the shed as well, but not at this time, just because there's a lot of information that we're sort of getting that's
genuinely
conflicting.
We still don't know.
We don't have a lot of photo or video evidence as well.
Seemingly
there is very clear evidence from the Bay situation.
There's problems at least with MPB security. And yeah, if you have any complaints, talk to the club or the FRG.
100%.
I'm not doing that just as a plug, but it's like if there are issues, I think there's already been people that have got in contact with us. Please do, and then we can actually raise it with Venues West and actually have a chance of shit getting done.
And I do think the biggest problem, it's not a fact of quantity, it's a fact of quality. The actual quantity of the security is not bad. We have enough security guards. It's just the quality of the security guards is shit.
Yeah.
They don't speak English. They're lots of the time shorter, older people, lots of the time women, can't diffuse conflicts, run away from conflicts on several occasions, antagonize people that don't need to be antagonized, and refuse to intervene when intervention is necessary. And that is the real issue here. On top of that, the response time from MPB is not good enough. The communication between security is not good enough. And it was promised to members of the Bay that they would have the same people policing the same areas week on week, so that they were aware of the certain people that came into the area.
They know how to deal with football fans.
If they needed to be removed, so they know how the situations work and stuff like that. That has been completely ignored by MPB security. They have broken that promise and have brought in completely new people week on week who don't know how to deal with these situations at football games with active support. So they are useless. Fix your shit up, MPB. You are actively
ruining the game.
You are actively assisting with the killing of youth active support at our club. So please fix your shit because it's absolutely not good enough.
Any other points?
No other points from me.
Wrap it up from there, mate. Episode 53.
Josh, anything? No?
Not really, to be honest.
I think it's a good point.
I want to get to bed.
I'm so tired, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for episode 53 of the Glory Days podcast. We will be back after the Adelaide game, in which hopefully not only will we be coming back after 3 points, but hopefully we'll be coming back with four members for the first time in 3 weeks.
Did we do score predictions?
I don't want to do a score prediction, but sure. Adelaide 2-0.
Adelaide 2-0.
Adelaide 4-2.
Ooh.
Holy shit. Floodgates have opened.
The floodgates have opened, and probably so will our tear ducts after the game on the weekend.
So make sure you tune in.
Make sure you tune into that. Thank you all very much. Thanks to Matt Vandenberg for not giving it too large to me on Twitter as well. And we will see you all on episode 54. Until then, it is bye for now.
Yep.